I'm ready when anyone else is ready. We good? Oh, we good.
Yeah, I guess we're good.
Oh, good. All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Whispering VA. I'll be the host of this panel. Uh, Today's panel will be the voice of revolutions. We got ourselves a voice actor today, a very talented voice actor. You hear? You hear? You hear? His name's Emcee Voices. Say hello, MC.
Well, there. It's great to be here.
All righty. Now, that said, MC, what inspired you to be a voice actor?
Really watching a bunch of other voice actors do their thing, like James Arnold Taylor, Jim Cummings, D. Bradley Baker, Rob Paulson, Tom Kenny, and of course the legendary Mel Blanc.
Did you have a particular favorite animation that kind of wanted to drive you forward into this?
I'm not sure if I had a specific one. Sonic was definitely one of them. I also have to say Star Wars The Clone Wars is definitely a good one. Watching all the voice actors behind the scenes do their thing is very inspiring to me.
Uh, Star Wars classic. Love it. Everyone here
And
loves Sonic to a
And
degree.
for those of you who may not know me, my name is Matt Clements, also known as Emcee Voices. I've been a voice actor for almost 5 years now in the Sonic community, and I voiced pretty much every Sonic character under the sun. I voiced Sonic, I voiced Knuckles, Eggman, Shadow, Silver, Vector, SBO, Orbot, Cubot, Jet, Storm, Metal Sonic, Big, Omega, Antoine, Rotor, Manic. Let's see, I've and a bunch of others I can't mention at the top of my head. For Sonic Revolution, I voiced two characters. I voiced Cubot and Dave the Intern. I used to voice Professor Gerald Robotic as well, although I recently gave up the role about a couple of years ago because we weren't using him.
All right. Well, we do have
Anyway,
a question from Leah. From your perspective, what makes a voice role challenging?
the most challenging thing about it is if it really pushes me out of my comfort zone and makes me have to go places that I don't often go. Like more like a character is more depressed, more anxious, is generally more in a darker spot. I've mostly been more upbeat and lighthearted most of my life, so I'm kind of not used to that. So that's more of a challenge for me.
Ah, so you're not all in the doom and gloom type of characters. Yeah, you know what they say. When it comes to characters, you gotta voice the ones you click with.
Anyway, one of the first things I like to show off something right now is basically a compilation of a bunch of Sonic characters I've voiced over the years. I'm gonna share my screen right here.
Mhm.
See for yourself.
Impressive.
Thank you.
Oh boy, that's a lot more than I could ever do. I was just in the Sonic franchise.
Yes, yes. I voiced characters from other franchises as well, like Ratchet from Ratchet and Clank. I voiced another Ratchet, and Bone Crusher from Transformers. I voiced Doctor Nefarious. I voiced Ermac from Mortal Kombat. I voiced Goofy and Pence from Kingdom Hearts. I voiced Mickey Mouse and a bunch of other characters.
Hmm. All right. Well, SM Bros has a question. Is there anything about voice acting that makes it enjoyable to you?
Well, really just bringing a character to life, putting myself in another character's shoes, and just telling a story through my voice. I've always enjoyed doing that.
Yeah, I always use storytelling as one of the most key aspects. All right. Which Sonic character do you relate to in terms of personality? That's
Hmm,
just Lindsay.
that's a very interesting question. One character I relate to on a more I relate to a lot is Knuckles because I kind of like to be alone most of my time, but I do enjoy other people's company. Although another character I relate to in more terms of personality is Tails, because I've always seen myself as kind of odd one out, the more quiet, shy, reserved type. But I get inspired by other people, and it makes me come out of my shell more.
Yeah. I can't go there without inspiration. All right. So, waste. If you would like to be mentored by any voice actor, who would it be and why? Lee asked.
Some of my heroes, like James Arnold Taylor and Jim Cummings, though it would be cool to be mentored by a Sonic voice actor or something like that. Though I have been mentored by other people who have been just as good, if not better. People like Cashlyn Snow and people like her. They've really pushed me out of my comfort zone, pushed me to be better than what I currently was. Someone who really pushed me to become better and better at what I do and who I am as a person.
Huh. Yeah, Cashlin does that. I wouldn't be here before Cashlin. Hmm. Aside from all that, what was your most favorite and or project that you're most excited about that came out recently?
That's a tough one because there are so many projects I've been involved in that I've been really excited about. Sonic and the Autobots by Rui is definitely one of them. In fact, any animation he does is top notch. Like recently, I was in his new series called what was it called? Tornado Squad. That's what it was. He had a new series out called Tornado Squad. One is a blast to be part of.
Tornado Squad? It's about
Fighter pilots.
ah.
And Sonic and his mainly Tails was training up a new batch of fighter pilots to fight in the war against Eggman.
Well, that sounds interesting. All right, we got another one from Leah. Tell us your experience of being part of the Sonic Revolution voice cast. How did it feel to come to the in-person events to meet your fellow castmates?
Yeah. Being part of the Sonic Revolution voice cast was a dream come true for me. I remember back in 2019, I started getting back into the Sonic fan base, and I saw these videos by Sonic Song 182 of them going to this place called Sonic Revolution, and it just seemed like so cool to me. Getting to interact with all these Sonic fans and all these different personalities like Belina Productions, Sonic Song 182, Sasso Studios, Ryan Drummond, and Pete Capella, and all of them. And I was like, oh, it'd be so cool to go there someday. Then a few years later, I found myself, I, I became friends with Cashlin and others, and they were holding auditions for these character or live interaction meet and greets and stuff like that. And the first audition, they already cast Sonic, Tails, and Rouge. They needed an Amy and a Shadow. I auditioned for Shadow and I didn't get the part. However, a little while later, they were doing another casting call for more characters. I auditioned for pretty much all the male characters, and I ended up getting Cubot, which was great because I love voicing Cubot. He's always been one of my favorite characters to voice. And then a little while later, they needed a Gerald Robotnik voice for a panel, and so I gave them an audition, and they liked it, so I got to be Gerald for a while. And then later, I was doing a panel with as Cubot with Andrew as Orbot. We were doing. Cubot had his voice chip malfunction, so he was voicing the other Sonic characters and other characters. And eventually, one person suggested that I do Dave the Intern's voice, and so I just did my best Dave the Intern. And Cashlin, our casting director at the time, happened to be listening in, and she DM'd me going, "You haven't auditioned for Dave because why?" And so I ended up sending her an audition, and I got the part.
She really pushed it for Dave.
And yeah, and as I said, I recently gave up the role of Gerald because we hadn't been using him. We only been using him for like character mix-up panels, and we just didn't have need for him anymore. And I was like, I want to. We only allow 3 characters at a time, so I want to save a spot in case another character comes up. I will say the highlight of getting to be Gerald was when I went to the Revo in-person convention. I got to see Mike Pollock, and I told him that I voiced one of your characters here at Revo, and I did the voice for him, and he liked it. That was basically the highlight of being Gerald for me.
Yeah, I got a highlight moment.
And speaking of the in-person event, that was an absolute wonderful experience. Getting to meet all the people in person, all these people that I worked with over the past few years in person. It was like a great big family reunion, especially at the beginning, just before the event started, where all of us voice actors were meeting up front. It was just wonderful. It was an amazing experience.
All right. You got a little more depth in your experience?
I got to meet a bunch of the Sonic voice actors and other personnel. Like, I had already met several voice actors at the Sonic Expo the year prior, like Jason Griffith, Mike Pollock, Ryan Bartley, Pete Capella, Lisa Ortiz. He's Ryan Drummond and all of them. But this time I also got to meet Dave B. Mitchell, Scott Dreyer, David Humphrey, and Lee Majdoub, who's Agent Stone from the movies. Technically not a voice actor, but still a Sonic actor. And I also got to meet people like Belina Productions, Songs on 182, Tyson Hess, 2 of the writers for Sonic Boom, Mark Darklighter, and a bunch of other big names.
The list goes on.
Yeah. But I also enjoyed getting to do the improv character or panel with like Andrew and True Blue. You can interact with them on stage as our characters.
Oh boy, gotta love improv. All right, I got another one from Leah. I know you have been making comic dubs for some point time, especially with your improving editing skills. If you could actually remake an older comic dub video, which would it be and why?
That's an interesting question. I actually recently did redo one of my comic dubs, the one of my early ones, the Sonic versus Tails one, where based off the House of Cards arc. I redid it with Rio, getting to live director this time. And this time I also expanded it so it included the entire comic storyline, not just Sonic and Tails' fight. We enjoy getting to be part of that big dramatic tension between the two brothers. It's just a wonderful experience. Other than that, I'm not sure. I have been contemplating maybe someday I'll redo my first comic dub where Sonic puts Scourge in his place at the end of the Archie issue 195 or 6 or something like that, where Scourge had been in Super Scourge and all that, really messing with everyone. And then Sonic finally tricked him and was able to humble him.
I love skirts sometimes. Alright. Alright. Let's see. Did it feel different doing the improv panel, especially when you did improv panels with Andrew and True Blue right next to you versus doing an online in Discord?
Well, yes, but actually, no. Because it felt sort of the same. We were just doing it like we always did. But now to actually be in person, having people audibly react to everything and just having the person right next to me was a lot of fun.
Oh, that is fun. Makes me want to go to one of these events.
You should, definitely.
I wonder when the next one's coming up. Alright. So, how many of these events have you been to? When it comes to the
I've been
live?
to a few. I've been to 3 Sonic Expos in Dallas. I've been to 1 Sonic Revolution so far. And I've also briefly went to a couple of Nostalgia Cons recently.
Out of the ones in Dallas, do you have a particular favorite?
That's a tough one. Sure, all 3 of them were great. They're all the same events, just you know.
Alright. Well, is there any particular comic dubs you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, sure. One I'd like to bring up is one that kind of blew up recently, and it's where I've heard it's based off a scene from the TV show Bluey.
Oh yeah, Bluey.
Let me pull it up real quick. Share the screen here, and there you go.
Okay, that was hilarious.
I didn't know it was a
Hey.
Bluey reference until after I put it out. And people were saying, "Oh, Bluey!"
Louis is such a cute show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't really watch the show since, well, I'm an adult, but I have heard that it's a very fun, cute show.
Oh yeah, it blew up fast. Uh, all right. Oh hey, Ring Boom, how you doing? Let's see here.
Yep.
When you were first casted for the first role in Revo, like how did you feel in that moment?
I was just super excited. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm part of a Sonic Revolution. This is so cool.
I gotta be honest with you. I never knew what Sonic Revo was until I was asked to be Infinite, which was probably embarrassing. Alright. Okay.
Actually, an interesting story was I tried to attend the in-person event in back in 2022. However, I didn't have a driver's license at the time and I couldn't drive myself. And I decided not to tell my parents that I wanted to go until the week before. I had already gotten my plane tickets and hotel and booked and everything, but I had no way of driving there and they didn't want to drive me there. And so I was forced to cancel my reservations and cancel my booking. It was a bummer.
Oof.
Then the
But
next year in 2023, I was part of a stage play, and so I chose not to go there that year. But then in 2024, I was finally able to go. And I don't regret any single moment of it.
I bet not. Alright. Which voice actors would you like to meet in the future conventions?
I've already met a bunch of them. Like I met, like the ones I mentioned before. Plus, I recently got to meet Roger Craig Smith and Colleen O'Shaughnessy. I've met Karen Strassman. I've met Devin Mack, Ian Hanlon, Kirk Thornton. I met Wally Wainert. I met Fred Tattishwire before I knew he was even a Sonic voice actor. Because now he's Storm. This is the month before Crossworlds came out, so. And I also met like Ben Diskin, Stephanie Shea, Kyle A. Bear, and a bunch of others. One voice actor I have not met that I would love to meet someday is Keith Silverstein, the voice of Vector. I love voicing Vector, and it would be cool to meet an actual Vector voice actor.
Factor's hilarious. Here's an interesting. If you were like offered a like if Sega themselves were to open up like auditions for like an actual Sonic game, which character would you actually like to audition for?
First, I'd ask, did something go wrong with the official voice actor? Did they just step down or anything? Because I don't want to just replace them because they decided, we don't want this guy anymore. It's like I don't want to replace a respected voice actor just for the heck of it. If the voice actor themselves was like, I'm done. I'd like to step down. That would be one thing. And if I were to replace, if I ended up getting the chance to voice a Sonic voice actor, well, Sonic would be an obvious choice, but I'd also like to voice either Knuckles or Eggman, maybe Orbot or Cubot or Shadow or something like that, or Vector.
Alright. Well, you're pretty deep in the Sonic franchises. Uh, since Sonic has been voiced by more than one voice actor, which one would you consider your favorite?
Well, the one I grew up with, when I was really introduced to Sonic, was when Jason Griffith was voicing him, and so that's a Sonic voice I really tend to lean towards. Though I also do like Ryan Drum and Roger, Ben Schwartz, Jaleel White, and all the other Sonic voice actors over the years, Devin Mack, and all of them.
Huh.
Yeah, when I first started voicing Sonic, I really tried to make it more Jason Griffith sounding. However, as time went on, I kind of molded him into more of my own Sonic voice. Basically, I just went, what would Sonic voice sound like to me? Like, how would I do Sonic?
Add a bit of
And
originality in
overall,
there.
it came like a voice like this. Way past cool.
Love it. Uh, yeah, it's good to add a little originality into these impersonations. Alrighty. So, are there any upcoming projects you're looking forward to be in, or you kind of set in stone
Well,
at the
some of
moment?
it's rather hush hush. And some stuff that I really want to tell you about, but I can't really say right now. I as for my own channel, I am currently still working on Sonic Boom Revisited Issue 2. I'm not sure if I said earlier this month that I would get it out by this month, but with real life things getting in the way and like the play I'm in taking up most of my free time, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get it done this month, but by next month, but by the end of next month, I'll definitely have it out. And I'm also planning on doing dubs of the DCX Sonic comics. I already got the voice cast all lined up and everything. I and I announced it about half a year ago. Not sure when I'm gonna be able to get all that done, but it will happen eventually.
You edit these comic dubs yourself, or do you have an
I
editor?
do. I
You do?
have occasionally hired other outside actors to do it, but I do most of the editing myself. Yeah, like for instance, the Sonic vs. Knuckles Gaia Complex comic dubs that I've released, I have hired outside work to help out with.
That's the one where like Knuckles and Sonic are like the whole werehog things, right?
Exactly. That's it.
Yeah, I think I've seen that online somewhere. All right. All right. Which comics have you seen that you knew you wanted to dub those comics?
Well, basically most of them that catch my eye. Like Eve, I knew I wanted to dub her comics, and I have gotten to dub several of her comics, and they're always fun to do. And also like Fern Stories and Q Quora, Pumpkin Spice, Cherry Doodles. Because I always enjoy getting to read their work and dub them.
Sherry Doodles is really good with her shorts.
She is.
Right.
And I also enjoy dubbing like the Archie comics, IDW comics. These days, I try not to do full arcs anymore because they take up so much time and effort, and, which is why I like doing small snippets of the comics.
So the shorter stuff. Speaking of IDW, what would you what would you think your favorite IDW Sonic character would be?
Of the original characters, that's kind of a tough one. Surge is definitely one of them because her story and her character's arc is so interesting. Is a She's not a typical villain. She's not a hero, but she's not necessarily. These days, she's not necessarily a villain either. She's damage, and she takes it out on others. But she's trying. These days, she's trying to do the right thing, but she has so much damage and baggage on it in her.
Uh, all right, another one from Leah. Which Sonic villain is your favorite and why?
Eggman is definitely a favorite. the villain. He's basically the basic answer. My favorite villain. Other than him, maybe Mephiles. I don't know.
Mephiles the Dark. If only they gave more about his backstory.
I
Alright.
really enjoyed how he was portrayed in Shadow Generations.
Oh, yeah. I was surprised to see him when they brought him in that one. Alright.
The fact that he's basically been written out of existence, and he's no longer the big bad he once was. He no longer has the power or the control he once had, so he's desperately trying to get back what he lost. it,
Desperate.
it gives a new perspective on his character, and it was just so interesting to see.
Hmm. Alrighty. Well, Sonic being obvious, what would be your favorite hero? Sonic hero, and why?
Sonic is definitely one of them. I also really like Shadow. Shadow's probably my favorite besides Sonic. Although I recently I also really like Vector, especially with the Chaotix case files. Uh, Sonic, Shadow, and Vector are basically my top favorites now.
Huh. Alright. Well, Leah's full of questions. Which other franchises would you like to do more comic dubs more, and why?
Hmm. I have done a few other comic dubs from other franchises. Like I've done stuff with Mario and some with Mickey Mouse recently and Looney Tunes. Even like I even did a Star Wars one at one point. One that I haven't done recent and that I would like to is Ratchet and Clank.
Ratchet and Clank? Oh.
But yeah, I would like to do more franchises to show I'm not just a Sonic guy.
Uh, is there any of those projects you'd like to share with us, or?
There is one that I recently did is a crossover of two of my favorite franchises, both of them which you might recognize. Let me pull it up.
Alright. Oh boy. So the Penguins of Madagascar and Spider-Man.
Exactly.
Oh boy, those penguins. Alright. So you said you want to do more Ratchet and Clank things. Do you have any like projects of Ratchet and Clank you have your eye on?
Hmm. Well, my friend Coliosis has this series all called PlayStation All Stars. I voiced Ratchet in those. I also recently got to voice Ratchet in an audio drama called Ratchet and Clank Galactic Peril, done by Wyman's Games. It's out on Spotify right now, and it's so good. I definitely recommend it.
It's on Spotify?
And on YouTube. It's basically one giant podcast.
I'll have to be sure to check that out. Alright.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ratchet's
these.
definitely a character I love to voice, mainly because James Arnold Taylor is one of my voice acting heroes.
Hmm. All right. Which Revel panel did you enjoy being part of, especially in character and hosting you as yourself?
Well, anytime I get to voice Cubot is a hoot. I also really like the one where I, as Dave the intern, basically took over the panel and held Sticks and the host hostage. Basically, held the entire audience hostage and for Sonic to show up so he can do battle with him. And of course, he gets his butt handed to him. As far
Oh,
as panels I hosted myself, one that stands out to me is the one where that took place in the world of Sonic Boom, where Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Six end up reading Amy's diary. That was so much fun.
oh,
We came up with different ideas for what Amy would write down, and of course, at the very end, Amy shows up, and well, hammer time.
oh boy. I wonder how many times Sonic was spelt in that diary. Uh, so, between the Sonic X and the Sonic Boom universe, which one would you have more preference for?
Sonic X definitely was a lot more lore accurate. Is what I grew up with watching a few episodes, and it's what I'm more attached to. However, Sonic Boom is definitely hilarious and a lot more fun.
Yeah, it's got that separation. Like, one's a little bit more story orientated and action packed, as in one's got more of the comedy and fun side.
Uh huh. Exactly. They're both peak in their own rights.
Yeah, especially Knuckles. Boom Knuckles. Alright, what have you learned over the years when it came to being a content creator when it comes to creating comic dubs?
Hmm. One thing I learned is that if you look back in your own work and it sucks, if you look back years ago, stuff from years ago, and it's awful, then you're doing a good job. It shows you're growing.
Yeah, I know
Also, people in the comment section can be pretty touchy, particularly when you when you have comics that are that have to be continued, multi-part. I learned that especially with unexpected test subjects. Every time I put one out, people are like, "When's the next part? When's the next part? When's the next part?" This has made me hesitant to do more multi-part stories unless I know that they've come to a conclusion.
that. Oh,
Because unexpected test subjects technically still isn't done. They're still doing the comics, and I'm still waiting on them to finish it.
yeah, yeah, that is understandable. It's like, when's the next part? Upload one. I've seen it before, that's for sure. Uh, Out of all, oh, speaking of like multi-part projects you've done, which one would you be considered your favorite when it comes to working on the multi-part?
One that I did, one that's already completed that I've done all the parts for is the Champions arc based off the Archie comics where Sonic and his friends end up entering in a competition, fighting competition with the Chaos Emerald as the prize. It's fun to see all these different characters interacting with each other. The artwork is fantastic. You got to have a bunch of different voice talent on it. It was just a blast to work on.
Oh yeah, you know, a lot of artwork can draw people in. All right, let's see. So it was champions. All right. Describe your voice range in 3 words and why those 3 words.
Let me think on that for a bit. Basically, freakishly wide range. Mainly because uh, I've always been good at doing different voices, and I like pushing the boundaries of what characters I can voice. Like for instance, I can do a low voice character like Black Tomb or something like that.
I can also do voice high characters like Bokoon.
So, yep, I always like pushing the limits of my range.
So as long as you don't hurt yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Try not to hurt yourself when doing different voices.
Hello, Maido.
Yeah, hey, Mayo. Also, hey, Rainbow. Sorry I didn't get to say hi to you earlier.
It shows your versatility as a voice actor.
Anyway, I have another comic dub to show, if that's okay.
Go right ahead.
This is a very fun one to do. I had actually wanted to dub this comic for a long time. Like before I started dubbing comics. It's one of the comics that made me want to dub comics. I finally recently got to do it.
Blaze was the last one I saw next to. What? We could hear this morning. Oh, really? Then what were you doing next to the Master Emerald earlier? Use its energy to travel between dimensions. Everyone knows that. Silver. Okay. Hi.
I thought Eggman was coming, so I punched it. But they keep forgetting that I'm the only one who can break it. Take that.
That's a park and recreation reference, isn't it?
Special message right here. Yeah, that was a special comic, especially since it was one of the last ones Cashlin did before she retired from voicing for Sonic. And I just want to say, I got to give a shout out to all this Sonic voice actors, all the voice actors that have been voicing for me over the years. People like Sydney Page, Ali Starlight recently did, aka Leah Fantasies. Alyssa Morales is a great one. Angie the Light Angel, Artie Noelle, Blaney, this guy Angry Zeddy, Blue Bolt VA. Bulma Bunny recently joined my cast as been from Tales and Sonic Tales. Cam VA, obviously Cashlin, Chris Heim, Chris VA recently started doing comics. Coffee Dubs did it early on. My good friend Coliosis, Coincidence, Cutie Cat VA, my buddy Diet Dr. Kelp, Doom the Meme Queen, Edward Saber VA, aka Mario Kart Gamer Dude, Elmer Louise, Irina Rooney, Galaxy Mira, Ghost Anjo, Hallelujah, Hyper Voice Acting did a few things. Infectious Pink, my brother, my biological brother, Jay Clemens, Jeremy Dubbs, Jespo Voices, Jason King 11, Gold Dude VA, Chris Dolly, Landy RS, Mr. JPEG, Mystic Robert, Nays, Yoshi Tales 13, uh, Ocean Amethyst, I forget what she's going by now. Octazuka, Pixel Rush, Rio Dies, Rui, Sega Girl 101, Shad Amy Lover 95, Scimitarch VOs, Malia Boone, Supersonic Mikey, Sword T40, Thea Salone, The Multi-Fan of Fangirl, Pop Culture Dude, Prankster VA, my good buddy, the Ultimate Voice Actor, Tomato Ghost, Tony VA, Treble Storm, True Blue, Umbra the Wolf, Voice for Hire, and aka Andrew HVA, and Zilla K.
What a list.
They've been around me for so long, and it's been such a blast having them on.
I bet. All right. Which comic from eBay did you enjoy dubbing the most?
VVA's comics, definitely my gal. It was the first one that I did. I saw Tales of Sonic Palace did a dub of the first few parts. It's years ago. It was one of the first comic dubs I actually saw, and I was always kind of bummed that the story was never finished. And then finally, a few years ago, eBay came back and finished the comic, and I was like, "Oh, I got to finish this one. I got to do this."
Yeah, she did go off the charts for a while. Reviews. Party shenanigans.
Probably not going to do fancy party shenanigans because that's a big one, and it contains some stuff that I'd rather not have in my videos, like getting drunk and stuff like that. I mean, it's just my personal taste. But it is a fun comic. I'll give it that.
Yeah, it's fun to read.
Plus, it would take up a lot of time since it's such a long comic.
All right. Who's out of all your time doing comic dubs? Is there a particular comic artist that you would consider to be one of your favorites?
That's like asking me to pick a favorite child. But yeah, Eve's definitely one. Pumpkin Spice is another. Q-Cora is another one. I always enjoy getting to do. Fern Stories is a recent favorite. Other comic artists put out such great comics that I enjoy reading, let alone dubbing.
What do you enjoy most about Sonic Revolutions?
Have a bunch of very talented individuals come together to be characters and goof off and just have fun being the different characters and brightening up people's days while having fun doing it. We've all become one great big Sonic family as a result. And it was really exemplified during the in-person event. You know, we just had this bond together, and it's become so wonderful.
Yes. Gotta love a big Sonic family. Alrighty. Well, seems we're down to our last 3 minutes. Is there anything you'd like to share with us, MC? But
I guess to end things off, I'll point things off with a song cover I did last year. Some these guys, Miles Workshop asked me to sing a cover for them, and my voice ended up not getting used in the end. However, they allowed me to keep the recording I did, and I ended up using it in the credits for my Champions arc. So, end things off with this.
That just goes out. MC, your screen share just turned off.
Let's stir screen back on. Let me rewind it a bit. What the heck? What's going on?
Oh boy.
Let's try this one more time.
Discord, everyone.
Yep, that's it.
Very good singing voice.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. And thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, not many people showed up, but it's nice to have you. It's great to have some of you here.
Yeah.
And for those of you listening, just want to say, this world can be a scary place sometimes. You don't know what's right and wrong, and things can get all crazy. But just remember that there is someone out there who loves you, and is always out there for you. And I'm cheering for you every day. So stay bright, stay positive, and stay as cool as you are. God bless you all.
God bless. All right, thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.
We'll see you on the next one.
Oh wait, before I end this, I am going to announce the tomorrow's panels. Tomorrow's panels at tomorrow at 2 p.m. PT, 5 p.m. ET is favorite video games Twitter space, which I will be hosting on my Twitter. And then tomorrow at 5 p.m. PT, 8 p.m. ET is content creator showcase with Polly B.
Yeah, Polly
And
B.
Mm-hmm. And I got a very special announcement. This coming Monday on April 27th at 2 p.m. PT, 5 p.m. ET is Sonic 35th anniversary trivia. We are going to be picking 3 audience members to participate in this. And if you want to participate in it, we will be choosing them by a wheel. So please, you have to let me know if you want to be a participant, and we'll put your name on a wheel, and we're going to choose the 3 by the wheel. and and whoever the 3 end up getting chosen, you will be awarded prizes, and we have a first, second, and third place prize. So if you want to participate, there are prizes in here. So keep that in mind, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, and of course in the upcoming trivia panel this coming Monday. And of course, that ends on day 25 of Serenity Spring Festival. Bye, everyone.
Thanks for having me on. See you all around.